gentlemen, may I have your attention, please? The show starts in 3, 2, 1, go.
Good morning, CaneSport. It's November the 21st, 2023. I'm Gary Ferman, the publisher of CaneSport.com, joined once again today by our managing editor, Matt Shodell, as we discuss the news of the day. And Matt, the news of the day is kind of, there's not really news of the day this week. I mean, they're playing out the string. They're going to Boston College on Friday. They're going to try to get themselves fired up and play a good football game against a team that's obviously dangerous at home the day after Thanksgiving. Miami often has not shown up well in this situation. For some reason, the ACC keeps scheduling it on the day after Thanksgiving up there, or Thanksgiving weekend. So we talked to the coordinators yesterday, got a little insight into what's going on their respective sides of the ball. We are in the process of taking a look on the website right now. We looked at the offense yesterday. We're looking at the defense today, just kind of evaluating where things are, where the talent level is. And I thought that the sessions with the coordinators were kind of interesting yesterday, starting with Lance Guidry, because I asked him point blank. I said, listen, I don't know if you're going to tell me the truth about this or not, but people are starting to ask about LSU and USC, and you're on the Broyles nominee list, and people are obviously noticing that you did a good job this year. And, where do you stand in terms of Miami and the possibility of these other jobs? And he kind of, I guess, answered it the best he probably could. I didn't feel like he totally, absolutely said, under no circumstances would I leave Miami. I didn't get that sense at all. But he did say he's happy here. He said he's happy with the way things have gone defensively. And he had not talked to his agent about it. And to his knowledge, there had not been any overtures made. So I thought that was kind of interesting on a day where we take a look at the defense today, Matt, and kind of scope out a little bit of what they might be looking for in the portal. And, you pointed out that they're going to probably be looking for some secondary help. I think they'll be looking hard for defensive tackle help. But this really is still a program that needs help in just about every area.
You just asked me a whole bunch of different things, but good job putting it.
Don't make me start cursing at you in Spanish again. Okay.
Good job putting it in Lance Guidry's head that he should start thinking about taking another job. That was genius. Hey, Lance, LSU wants you, and I think USC wants you. What do you think about that? Great job, Ferman. When he leaves, everyone's going to blame you now. But honestly, what's he going to say? That, I think I might leave. I mean, of course he's going to say he loves it here. He's going to say that's what every coach says. He didn't say anything different than I expected. But the truth is, he's from Louisiana. Just like Mario's dream job was Miami, and he probably had a better situation in Oregon, quite honestly. If you want to win games and win conferences, it's going to be a lot easier where he was, and we'd already built up the roster.
Not anymore.
Huh?
Not anymore once they change conferences.
Well, but look where Oregon is. And Dan Lebitard yesterday was taking Mario to task because basically saying he's a bad coach. Look how good Oregon is without him. They were good with him also, but whatever.
Correct. And he built it.
Right.
Yeah.
But when he's talking about
he
him
recruited the top player in 9 different states the year he left.
I didn't watch the whole clip, but I think it was about him being a bad game day coach. Was what everybody
yak.
The perception that he's a bad game day coach is just going to stick with him forever. There's been too many.
Cliche. Yeah, it's a worn out.
Too many. It's one of those. It's like these nicknames that Trump has for people. It just sticks with you. That's it. That's who you are now. So anyway, it is what it is. But so Lance Guidry is from Louisiana, and I think if LSU really makes a run at him and the money's the same, I think he leaves. That's just the way it is, and I would understand why. The guy loves Louisiana. When you asked him, or I think it was Manny Navarro asked him way back when, about what he thought about Miami food, he just started talking about Louisiana food and how he misses it and how great it is, and the gumbos and the this and the jambalaya and the crawfish and da 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 da. So home is where your stomach is, right? And then you started talking about this. Then you started talking about the portal with me.
Home is where your stomach is. Let me think
That's
about that.
That's how I view my home. Yeah, wherever the good food is, that's where my home is. Wherever the stone crabs are wandering around, that's my home. That's why I'm in South Florida.
Home is where your stomach is. Okay.
Isn't that the saying?
I don't know.
Not the saying.
First I've heard of it.
Home is where your heart is, I believe. But anyway,
that's the saying, yeah.
Yeah. So with the portal, it's so hard to tell what they're going to do. The issue is the roster numbers. They can't just take guys. They got to take free agents. And that means you got to open up the piggy bank a little bit. And if it's up to me, they're taking 4 to 5 guys in the secondary. They're going to need it. They're going to probably need safety. They need safeties right now. So they're going to need safeties. They're definitely going to need at least 2 starting cornerbacks, in my opinion. I think Damari Brown would be an okay third starter. I'm still not sold really on Darryl Porter. Like, he's okay, but I just don't know if he's the guy, because you got to be elite. You can't just be okay. I'm done with the okay stuff. So anyway, so that's where I see it at the secondary. I do think, Wesley Bissainthe, I know yesterday somebody asked, maybe it was you, Lance Guidry, about him, and he said how great he's doing, whatever. But he hasn't progressed as much as I thought he would in year 2, and he didn't even start at the beginning of the year. KJ Floyd, who is good, he's really good, but he's a career backup at Louisville behind some good players. But they split time pretty much, and you need a difference maker because you could see that Mabigoa, Francisco Mabigoa, is a difference maker. He's really good. And they need that other linebacker. If they're not going to run a 3-3 stack next year as long as the defensive linemen are healthy. So you just need a really good second linebacker who can blitz, who can cover, who can do all the stuff you need to do, which I don't think they really have right now. So I would take a free agent linebacker, and that's it on defense. 5 to 6 defensive free agents. I think that, you said add a defensive tackle. I don't think they need a defensive tackle, because basically what you're taking, you have to realize, you can nod your head all you want. Guys, top players in the portal don't want to go to a program where they're going to be having to compete to start. And right now at defensive tackle, if Leonard Taylor comes back, if you think that, and everyone does think, Ruben Bain's going to wind up defensive tackle, Akeem Messidor can play defensive tackle. You got Jared Harrison-Hunt potentially coming back, unless he wants to go somewhere else and start, who's not bad. And then you got a really good young guy in Josh Horton, who I think is going to be outstanding, who the coaches are high on. It's just hard to get a top defensive tackle interested in a situation like that. So it sounds great. Oh yeah, let's just get the amazing defensive tackle who's going to be an All-American. But those guys don't really want to come into that situation where they have to compete to start or share reps. They're looking to go to the NFL after a year.
I don't think they're counting on Bain or Messidor to play tackle.
I think Bain's going to grow into a tackle whether he wants to or not. So you can say whatever you want.
He might. I mean, we saw him hit a little bit of a wall as an end the last couple of weeks.
Yeah.
He might. But
no, he belongs to defensive tackle. I mean, that's where he's gonna his lower body strength, forget his overall weight and size. His lower body strength screams defensive tackle. I mean, the burst he gets is Warren Sapp-like, and the quickness he has per pound is Warren Sapp-like. And you just, at end, unfortunately for defensive ends like him, they're a little bit bulkier, and it's a little easier for a tight end to help out. For a running back to chip you, and it's just a little bit harder. Whereas you got a straight line where you just make a move or push your guy back at defensive tackle, and you shoot a gap, whatever it is, and like you're there. For me, that straight line power, speed, rush that he has belongs to defensive tackle. That's why everyone says eventually he'll be a defensive tackle. But regardless, like there are, again, if I'm a defensive tackle and I'm like one of the top 10 portal defensive tackles in the country, like Miami's just not the place where I'm going to think I can just showcase myself in 1 year, regardless of how good Lance Guidry's system is, because you got to beat all those guys out to start, including Leonard Taylor, who some think will still be a first-round draft pick if he has a great year. I think he's got to come back.
I think he's got to
come back. You don't know if,
I think he's got to come back. I agree.
I think he does too. You just don't know what's going to happen with Bain. I mean, yeah, if LT leaves, then you got a case to get a top defensive tackle, but I don't think he's going to leave. And then you got to be convinced that Bain's going to stay at end all the time. He was already playing tackle quite a bit this year, and especially when Nigel Kelly and Akeem Messidor are healthy, right? I mean, what are you going to do? Just rotate 3 of the best defensive ends in the ACC? Or are you going to put one of them inside where you need a starter? I mean, it makes no sense to not have Bain as a defensive tackle, because he's more of a tackle than Messidor is. I don't want to bench Nigel Kelly. You're going to have Jafari Harvey back, hypothetically. He's a good end rusher also. It's a glut of talent on the defensive line. So again, I don't think you need a portal guy there. I just don't. I don't think they're going to get a top guy. at defensive tackle or defensive end. So why bother? I don't want another guy there just for a body. I'll take a freshman.
All right. Well, we have a look at all this on the website today, and curious to see what your guys' opinions are on the message boards at CaneSport.com. But Miami will be shopping in the portal sooner than rather than later here. Portal opens around December the 4th, and kids can start declaring. There's a 30-day window. So a lot's going to be going on between December 4th and the end of the month for sure. So that'll be interesting. And so we also talked to Shannon Dawson, and I did not intend to open up the can of worms that I did. I asked him about the air raid offense, and I said a lot of people are saying that what he's running this year is not the air raid, which is obviously true. What do thou say? And he starts talking about Mike Leach, who created the air raid offense kind of thing, and he said, and he uttered the phrase, and I don't think he did this intentionally. He said, "But he worked for himself. He didn't work for anybody else." Which immediately the radars went up and everybody thought, oh, Shannon Dawson's saying that Mario is controlling the offense and stifling him and making him be ultra conservative. And not exactly what he was saying. What he was saying is that, when you go up tempo and you throw the ball a lot, the defense is on the field a lot more. And you're going to have, because you're throwing the ball a lot, you're going to have a high ranked offense because you get yardage. But your defense is going to be very low ranked because they're going to be on the field a lot more because the clock keeps stopping. So I thought that was kind of an interesting moment. But, we had our look at the offense yesterday and what they need in the transfer portal. And today we have the defense. And like I said, we spoke to the coordinators. So you guys can check all of that out on the website today. We also have some recruiting stories today. The new On3 recruiting rankings came out, and several top 2022, 24 recruiting targets were on the move yesterday. And so we break all that down for you. You can see that story on the website. We also have a story on a tight end that is starting to emerge for this 2024 cycle. Kind of came out of nowhere. He was a Stanford commit. He flipped from Boston College earlier this year. His name is Benjamin Blackburn. We have a story on him. Miami is actively all of a sudden looking for tight ends. They didn't use the tight end this year. So maybe they intend to bring the tight end back into the offense next year, but they are actively out recruiting tight ends. There's another kid that's committed to Cal at the moment who they're talking to as well. We'll have a story on him here in the near future. We also have a story on the defensive tackle, speaking of the position commit, Artavius Jones, who, when he committed, was a spectacular commit for Miami. I mean, this kid's been a good player, but apparently he has struggled a little bit as a senior, and some people like Florida State have kind of cooled on him a little bit. I don't know, Matt. I still think Artavius Jones is pretty darn good. And, with Florida State pushing, we have an update today on where he stands. So make sure you check that out. And then the last thing that we have on the website today that's worthy of conversation here on today's show is the men's basketball team has now cracked the top 10 of the Associated Press poll. And Matt, I thought that this was a monumental move for Jim Larrañaga and crew. Because Miami never gets the benefit of the doubt in these rankings, and they certainly earned it by making the Final Four last year, and now coming out of the gates undefeated. Miami absolutely belongs in that poll.
Rankings are for losers. I really don't care. I like watching the men's basketball team play. I like Jim Larrañaga. I like these players. I like this team a lot, but just the way basketball is structured, I could care less with the AP poll and USA Today poll. You just want to be seated high by when it comes down to the NCAA tournament. You're not winning championships by being ranked number 10 after 5 games. It doesn't excite me whatsoever, but it does show that this team has a lot of potential, which we already knew. I mean, What do we know differently today than we didn't know before the season? Like, it's still, I put off my face.
What is that white? Like, you got this white stuff that
just one of my teeth came out. It's just a stress tooth removal. That's all. I get stressed out and my teeth fall out.
What are you doing?
I don't know. You don't want to talk about Shannon.
You're in the middle of a show here, and you're picking white specks out of your mouth.
Like, you don't let me talk about Shannon Dawson, and I got very stressed out, and one of my teeth fell out.
Oh my God! So you're done about basketball?
I mean, I don't. Yeah, I'm not. Nobody wants to hear about basketball.
These kids
would rather hear me talk about Shannon Dawson, who tried to explain what an air raid is and why his system isn't an air raid or is an air raid. I don't even think he knows. He says he doesn't even know what an air raid is. So, like, so I guess he doesn't run an air raid. It was like he was trying to explain what infinity was. I know the definition of infinity. The definition of infinity is how long Gary Ferman would talk if I wasn't on this show. But I do not, you can, like, I Googled after he started talking about.
By the way, that was weak, man. That was weak.
After he started talking about the air raid and how it was, I think he said it was not a concept, a mentality. And then he just went on with some weird stuff about it, like it's not a system, So I Googled air raid offense. Other people apparently have thoughts about the air raid, 4 receivers, getting the ball out fast, spreading the ball around the field, offensive linemen spread out at the line of scrimmage, running a fast-paced offense, none of what he does. So I guess it makes sense for him to say
that's why everyone's saying like that. This is not the air raid.
No, it's not the air raid, but
they're blaming Murray.
I think he was trying to say that some of his passing routes are air raid-ish, I guess. I don't understand it. I mean, it's not what he's running is not the air raid, obviously. We called it a hybrid air raid, but it to me, honestly, half the time it looks way more pro style than air raid-ish. I mean, I know they're out of the shotgun all the time, but that's about the only air raid part of it. I don't understand. His whole explanation was weird. Like, what offensive coordinator says he intentionally tries to not score as many points as possible so the defense doesn't get tired? I've never heard an offensive coordinator say that. It doesn't even make sense.
How did you pull that from what he said?
He said he tries. He says Louisville ran a long sustained drive, so I had to do a long sustained drive. I didn't want to just score in one play. God forbid, because the defense will get tired. We don't want to have an askew number of plays run between offense and defense. Maybe this is why he never wants to score in 1 or 2 plays. He just runs the ball up the middle, runs the ball up the middle, runs the ball up the middle, short pass, runs the ball up the middle, because the defense can't get tired, And I don't know who put that in his head. I've never heard an offensive coordinator so worried about the defense getting tired as this guy was in the press conference. I found it very strange. I've been to a million offensive coordinator press conferences. I've never once heard them start talking about how they don't want the defense to be tired because the other team's having long drives. Like they just want to score points. Like an offensive coordinator who runs 40, 50 plays in a game, the other team runs 90, but that team wins because they scored 50 points that quickly. That offense coordinator's not up there saying, I wish we had taken more time on the drives. The defense was really tired after the game. Like, just score the points. Score the freaking points. Like, what is he talking about? Just score points. I don't care if they come in 10 seconds or in 10 minutes, but score freaking points. And if you're not doing it the way you're doing it, try something else, like maybe the air raid. Oh, wait, doesn't exist. My bad. Maybe try something. The Shannon, what is he going to call it? The Dawson raid. I don't know. I don't want to say something mean. Whatever.
Oh my God.
I was aghast. AGHAST, not AGASSED. I wasn't farting. I was aghast, like AGHAST. Listening to that press conference yesterday, it went off the rails a little bit with him trying to talk about the air raid. It was really strange, honestly.
All right, well, this show has gone off the rails because I was trying to talk about the basketball team.
Yeah, we talk about basketball, and people post literally stop talking about basketball.
Well, they're in the top 10.
You like basketball.
They were 4 last year. They're the pride of the University of Miami.
Do you know how many
team right now?
Okay, let's take a look at how many threads in the last 8 hours are about basketball on our message boards versus football, okay? So far, I'm just scrolling down.
Everybody's 1, 2, 3, 4, sleeping. I don't want to hear it.
7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay. So far, I'm at 15 non-basketball threads and 1 basketball one, and the basketball one is me. I started a thread, men's hoops ranked number 10.
I get it, but the team 17, is they're in the top 10. They're undefeated. They're going to Kentucky on Tuesday for a big game. There's nothing wrong with talking a little bit about
35 threads from yesterday, okay? 35 threads from yesterday to 1 football threads to 1 basketball thread, okay?
Right, I get it. I get it.
So like what I understand you're obsessed with the basketball team. They played 5 games.
I love the basketball team.
We're still a football school. I hate to tell you, like it's a football school, unfortunately, because the basketball team's amazing. But
we can walk and chew gum. Okay. Hello, Jay Collette.
If you want bad ratings, do an entire show about basketball. Watch how many people want to watch that show. It's a sad state of affairs because Miami could win the national championship in basketball, and like everyone will be very happy about it.
How about this?
But people don't care until you win the national title, and they'll be like, okay, now we care a little bit.
Right, how about this? How about if I make a pitch to everybody who's watching today? Start taking interest in basketball. This is an exciting team. They're really good. They're undefeated after going to the Final Four. They play Kentucky on Tuesday night in a big game. This season is going to be so much fun. You might want to get into it. Try. Just check it out, and see if you like it because it's really a very good product. All credit to Jim Larinaga. All right. So, Matt, that's going to do it for today for Good Morning CaneSport. A slow and sweet show. It's Thanksgiving week. We're kind of coasting into the finale on Friday against Boston College. Then it's going to be get ready for the transfer portal. It's going to be very interesting.
By the way, how funny was it when somebody asked Mario what they're doing for Thanksgiving as a team?
Yeah.
And he's like, what? He's like, we're not celebrating Thanksgiving. We don't celebrate things here.
We'll do a little something with some turkey on Wednesday or something, but we're certainly not doing it the day before the game. Remember when Mark Richt took an undefeated team to Pittsburgh? They were 10-0, and they had this big Thanksgiving dinner the night before a Friday game, and they got clobbered by Pittsburgh. Mario's not making that mistake.
No, the funniest thing was he starts talking about tryptophan, which I don't even think half the media understood what he was talking about. Tryptophan is in turkey, and it makes you sleepy. And Mario's like going off on tryptophan, like, I'm not giving my players tryptophan. Are you crazy? It's just very funny. I had a good time listening to that one.
Yeah, it was funny. But anyway, so they're kind of coasting into this Boston College Friday game. Hopefully they play well and get a win. I see 7-5 is different than 6-6. And then, like I said, soon it's going to be time for the transfer portal. A lot of movement in all directions. We're getting ourselves fired up for that so we can cover it in hopefully spectacular fashion for you guys. If you're on YouTube right now, you like this show, like this channel, hit your subscribe and like buttons. It helps us with the algorithms in growing our audience. If you are not yet a subscriber to CaneSport.com, please come on over, join our community of fans, join our site. Let us do what we do every day to try to enhance your fan experience. So for Matt Shodell, relatively well-behaved today, I'm Gary Ferman. Thank you so much for joining us, everybody. We will see you next time.